Hey everyone, so we're day 10 into my video a day challenge, and if you missed it, anyone who's playing along and keeping me accountable and didn't see one yesterday, that's because I did 2 live videos in my VIP group. So if you didn't see them yesterday, jump into my VIP group and you can have a look at my yesterday's videos in there. Although I don't have a very good connection here at home and my live feed didn't work all that well, but you'll get the idea. So today I'm one eye done and one eye not, as is sometimes the case, and I'm not really trying to channel Olivia Newton-John, but I think a little bit of that might be coming through. I'll try not to start breaking out into song for you all. So today I had a question in one of my online beauty bashes that I'm running with regards to using the pigments wet. And they are made to use wet or dry, and you get different results using them wet or dry. So what I've done here is I've just put 3 different pigment colors on to create this look. But I did start actually with my under eyeliner done with my pencil. The 3 colors I've put on are those 3 here. So the highlight color is Curious. That's the very lighter color there is Curious. The silver, beautiful silvery color is called Feisty, and then the very dark, it's black really, is called Corrupted. So they're the 3 that I used in this look. So I've used them dry over here, and I'm going to demonstrate using them wet on my other eye. So I'm just tapping. You can see there's a tiny bit in there. I'm going to put only, well, a tiny bit more. There's honestly almost none in there. Now I'm not running my brush, I've got the deluxe brush for this. I'm not running my brush underwater. I'm actually just I've wet my sink and I'm just tapping my brush into some of the water that's in the sink, okay? So it's a little bit damp, it's not soaking wet. So I'm just getting a little bit on my brush here. This is sometimes where it's good to have a little dish of water actually. I'm just tapping to get a touch more water. I do have a clean sink. All right, so there is our highlight color that is wet. So when you're doing your highlight, it may look as though I'm not really putting much on here, but that's kind of the point. It's really just a highlight on your brow bone, and it should go right up towards your brow. I have quite a high brow. I've done makeup on people that have, you know, brows much closer to their eye socket, but mine, there's a lot of gap there. So I've just done, with that wet brush, I've just put my highlight color on. You won't notice a massive difference at this point, but that's okay. All right, so the next color I'm going to do is my regular lid color. So for this one is going to be Feisty. That's the gray, silvery gray. Now there's way too much in there, so I'm not even going to get close to using all of that. Just wet the sink again. And this one I'm using the liner shader brush, so the shader end of the liner shader brush. It's a tiny bit damp, and I'm just tapping into the edge of that. I'm not even going into the main bulk of that. And again, I just wet it a tiny bit more once that is on there. You can see down in this corner here, potentially. I'm just kind of mixing it up over there. All right, so it's not dripping. And then as I'm brushing that on, you can see how much more of a shimmer that is wet. This is amazing for a night look as well. All right, so I've done my lower lid right up into where that crease line is, until your skull socket, eye socket area is there, okay? Just wipe off my brush. I usually have a little towel for it, but I've misplaced that right now. So I'm wiping that off on my hand. Now I'm gonna go and grab, just with my crease brush, that's the one with the rounded end. I'm gonna grab just a tiny bit of that Corrupted. And I'm not gonna put this on wet, because I've still got a bit of, I can still feel a bit of that wetness from the Feisty that I just put on. With the crease brush, I kind of roll it. I really don't want much of this, so I'm tapping it off and I'm just coating the bristles. And I'm just gonna tap and it's probably a bit darker than what I anticipated because I've got more on that brush than I meant to. I'm just gonna let that dry for a second because I want to blend that out. All right, so while that's drying, one other thing I did in my other eye, now remember this whole eye was dry actually except the liner there. I did the liner with a wet liner shader brush, the liner end. I'm just gonna go back to my highlight color, to that light color. I'm just gonna pop a little bit of highlight just here in the corner and you will be able to see that that's there right now. I'm gonna blend it, don't panic, it's not blended right now. Okay, so back to my liner shader brush. The liner end, see it's really chiseled. That's the end that I've wet again. And I'm just getting out from the edge of what's in my lid, just a tiny bit wet on the end of my brush. You can just see there's a tiny bit on the end. And come down here and you can line with the wet liner pigment. All right, now the other end looks crazy because I have not blended it, but I'll do that when it's dry. All right. The other thing I did over here was just to smoke it out a little, although this eye doesn't need a whole lot of help being smoked out, but I just bring it down underneath my lash line, my lower lash line there. Depending on how smoky you want it, you can bring it even further down. All right, I'm just about finished drying off my blending brush. So the shader end of that liner shader brush is what I'm going to use to blend. And as I bring that all across, blend it back in that way. It is a lot darker than I had anticipated. However, you can also see how much of a difference that water makes to bring out the color in the pigment. So, and again, just drying off the excess on my brush and smoking that out here. So once you get that blending happening, you can see how it really changes it to a smoky look. And just fix up that, oops, got all over me. Oh, I'll get that later. I've obviously been dropping little bits. Okay, I'm back. I actually was going to redo this whole video because I ended up having that all down my face. However, I've just wiped it off. And the smoky eye look, I think that's a winner. Even though it's a little darker than what I had intended that's on the other side. If you wanted to lighten it up, I'm just grabbing my stuff here. I'm just going to go back to my Feisty, which is that lighter silver. And you could, if you wanted to blend more of that silver on top, just to give that other shimmery look there. There you go. And then I can, again, blend a little bit more of my highlight. So as you can see, when using them wet, oh, it's a bit much on there. When using them wet, be careful because the colors are way more intensified. But look at that look. You know, if you wanted to go the whole nighttime smoky eye look, then there it is. Also keep in mind, I have not done my lashes in this look as yet. I might do them in a minute off camera and post a photo of that below the video. So there you go. Using them dry, apart from the liner, and using them wet, similar colors, similar application, but way more intense color. So there you go. Pigments, wet and dry. And I have come back because I wanted to show you with my lashes done as well. And I've turned the camera upside down because it's the best way to get a really good view of lashes done. So there you go. That's with my 3D fiber lashes on as well. So, oh, now talking down to the camera. So that's the look. And if you want any, you know where to find me.